the first time. And let's do a few things before we actually get started playing the game. Let's go into our options menu. And I've already done it, but you should unclick full screen. When you're in full screen, it makes it very hard to go back and forth between the game and whatever else you might be doing. I've also turned my music down so it's not so overwhelming while we're recording. The way that we're going to play the game is what's called Sandbox Mode, which means that we're going to have unlimited money to spend, and we're not going to have a whole lot of objectives other than to make our park as good as it can possibly be. So we're going to go into the Play menu. We're going to go into Sandbox Mode. And we're going to start a game. So we've started up in Sandbox Mode, and you can see that there's nothing here. Although we do have some people who are already interested to see what the park's going to be like, they're sort of in for disappointment right now. Up on the top of the screen we have this bar that has a lot of options and information for us. We can see that there are 17 people, or now there's 22 people in the park. Right now they still have a favorable view of the park. This little bar is closer to the thumbs up than it is to the thumbs down. If we don't add anything to the park, that will probably change very quickly and they'll become unhappy. Right here we can actually change how fast time flows. Right now it's flowing at a normal rate. We can make it faster or much faster. You can see how much quicker the visitors to your park are actually moving around, and the numbers shot up pretty quickly, and you can see that the green bar of satisfaction has already gone down from where it was because there's nothing here to do. Right now I have pause time, so they're not moving at all. And next to it, this is a nice little feature where you can decide whether you want to have a day-night cycle that goes back and forth, or if you want it to be night or day. Sometimes when you're working in the park and you turn it to nighttime, or I'm sorry, to have the nighttime happen, it becomes hard to see what's happening, so you can put it on daytime. However, every once in a while you switch back to nighttime to make sure that you have enough lights in your park. Moving around in the game is pretty simple. You click and press down the mouse wheel to rotate around. You can use the arrow keys to pan back and forth, up and down, and the mouse wheel being rolled zooms in and out. Let's jump right in by placing some rides. I've clicked on the rides button right here, and you'll see there are several different categories for rides, starting with roller coasters, children's rides, thrill rides, so on and so forth. To get started, let's start with a children's ride because they're kind of small and easy to work with. So I click on those, and you see there are several here for me to choose from. So let's do this dinosaur go round. I'm going to double click on it, and it's going to allow me to move around and see where I might want to place it. I'm going to place it sort of close to the beginning of my park. So I'll put it over here. I'm leaving some space here in front of the ride so I can have some lines form. I don't want to put it right next to the path. Automatically it brings up this icon, which is the entrance of my ride. I'll put it right there. And the exit, which I'll put over here. Now, several things have to happen before I can actually open this ride up. First of all, I need to connect the path, the main path, to the ride, also the exit to the path, so let's do that. On the left hand side, this is the path button. And there are two main kinds of paths. There's a queue path and a standard regular path. Queue means standing in line, so I need to have a place for people to stand in line before they can get on the ride. If I were using just a normal path, that wouldn't be able to happen. So for my entrance connecting to my main path, I need to have what's called a queue path. So I click that. There are several different styles to choose from. I'll just go with the standard. And you see it has this big banner in front of it letting me know what ride it is. I'm actually going to curve this around. Now my visitors will be able to line up along this path if the ride is already full. For the exit, going back to the regular path, I can just use this normal path. Also has several styles. The second thing I need to worry about is right now the ride is set to close. Is closed. I have this red flag. People cannot get on the ride. And if I press the play button, you'll see right now the little banner is saying closed. It's a good idea to test your ride first. So if you put the flag to yellow, the ride will begin to move, but people will not be allowed on it. And now the banner reads testing, but after a minute or two, when things have been tested, I can go ahead and put it on green. And now, hopefully pretty soon, people will begin to actually get in line and enter the ride as they are now. This works pretty much the same for any kind of ride, all the way up to giant roller coasters. So if I grab a coaster, this is the trick, is design one from scratch, or you can get a pre-built one. For our class, we're going to go ahead and get the pre-built ones because building them from scratch takes a lot of time and is very advanced. In order to do that, I'm going to find the style of roller coaster I want, and then I'm going to click this little folder right here that has some pre-made coasters in that style. At the bottom here, you see there are several categories: steel, wood, suspension, water. And right now, I can see all the various kinds of roller coasters because all of these icons are lit up. If I click the wooden, it's unhighlighted, and all the wooden coasters have disappeared from my list. If I now unclick suspended and water, I'm only going to see the steel coasters. If I unclick that, I won't see any because I've unchecked all my possible categories. If I were to, for example, click on wooden again, I will only see the wooden coasters. Whatever icon is lit up, those are the coasters that I'm actually seeing in my display. Let's pick a steel coaster for now, and we'll do a bobsled. So remember, I have to click this little folder, and it comes preloaded with several possible variations. I think that one looks like fun, so I'm going to press the check mark. And here it is. It's obviously much bigger than my current children's ride, and it doesn't quite fit where I want it to fit. If I press the Z key, I can rotate it around. You'll see when it's possible to place it, I get this, it's sort of highlighted in blue. If I can't place it for various reasons, it's highlighted in red. What I need to pay attention to here is where the entrance and exit are. Because unlike the kids' rides, they are preset. And you see there they are right there. I do not want to place a roller coaster like this. It would be very hard to get to at this point. So I want to make sure that the entrance and exit are facing my main path, and I'll place the coaster. And you can see night has fallen, and it's very hard to see. I haven't put any lights in my park yet. So let's go ahead and turn daylight on. So here we are. We have an entrance and an exit, but you'll notice they're actually elevated. So how do we do that? It's actually pretty easy. Let's go to our path. For our entrance, we'll grab a Q path. And I come over here, and if I get into the right area, you'll see that it automatically elevates that path for me. So I can click, and you see it actually is beginning to show arrows where I might want to redirection my path. I don't want to go that way because I'm going to get in the way of the exit if I do that. So I'm going to keep going straight. But what I need to do is actually get it down to ground level, because right now, no one will be able to get up there. So what I'm going to do is, when I have it highlighted and before I click, I'm actually going to click and hold the mouse button down and move my mouse down. And that arcs the path downwards. And eventually I'll run into the ground. And I'm going to add a little bit more, because the roller coaster is going to have a lot of people want to wait in line for it. So now I have all that Q path where they can possibly wait in line. Now let's add a normal path for my exit. Same thing. I'm going to arc this one down quicker by clicking and holding, moving the mouse downwards, down to the ground, then to make sure I'm out of the way of the entrance. Now I've connected the bobsled to an entrance and an exit. However, I must not forget it's still closed because I haven't turned it on yet. So if I was playing for real, I would probably test it for a few minutes, but for the sake of this video, I'm just going to go ahead and press the green button to turn the coaster on. And within a few minutes, we'll probably see, if I speed up time, people will begin to get in line and enjoy the roller coaster. So we've learned how to place rides, and that's great. But the park is looking a little sparse, and when night fell, we saw that it was looking a bit dark. So we need to learn how to add some extras in terms of decorations and lights. So over here, this is what I'm looking for. It's called scenery. When I click on scenery, there are several categories. The main ones that I'm concerned with are foliage, path extras, and scenery items. So foliage is exactly what it sounds like. I have down here trees, shrubs, and flowers, and just like before, right now I'm seeing all three because all three are highlighted. If I turn off shrubs and flowers, I will only see trees. I'm also seeing a wide variety of kinds of trees. There's a lot of weird things going on here, and that's because at the top here, I'm seeing every kind of a theme that I might want to have, and they're all turned on. So I have all kinds from Western to fantasy to space to adventure, Paradise Island, prehistoric. Right now I'm seeing all of those. If we were, for example, to turn off all of them, except for Paradise, I'm only seeing the trees that fit the description of Paradise. Right now I'm seeing Paradise Island trees. Now I'm seeing Paradise Island shrubs and flowers, but you can see there actually aren't any of those because nothing was added. So I like to have a lot of trees and green things in my park. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a tree. You see this one's actually quite big. I'll put it over here by the entrance. Maybe a few of these as well. And just like before, I can rotate them by pressing the Z key. Let's find some others. I'm going to go ahead and add the adventure in here, and you see I've added a few more, like my palm trees, which are a bit smaller, which is nice. I can put them in the path. That's funny. Sometimes this happens where you put a tree down and you start seeing it outside the park. Don't worry about that. Nothing you can do about it. I'll put one here and one here. Let's add some flowers, actually. So we'll turn everything off except for flowers. There must not be any flowers that fit in Paradise Island or Adventure, so let's see what we can find. Now, I turned on the generic tab, and there are plenty of generic flowers. So let's add some flowers along our paths. Here are some nice roses. And you see, even within a single square, I can pick which part of that square they're going to be on. So I can put them here as well as there. So make sure you spend some time putting some foliage in your park. It makes it look a lot nicer. Path extras are things that would go along your path, like signs, lights, benches, all kinds of things. So right now, all of them are turned on. Let's focus right now on lights. I'm going to turn everything else off. And now I see just the lights, but I'm only seeing lights that fit the category of Paradise Island and Adventure. That's fine for now. So I'll grab some nice beach lamps. Let's zoom in, and my mouse isn't being very responsive right now. Let's try a different one. Oh, I'm sorry. These go actually on the path itself. So I'll go ahead and place a few of these along the path. Maybe get a few of these beach torches. Maybe a few of these. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and flip it over to nighttime. And you'll see, now my park is starting to have this nice warm glow because I have lights around. But there are lots of other path extras. Things like seats are really important so people can sit down if they need a break. And don't forget things like trash cans, because if people don't have trash cans to use, they'll just throw it right on the ground. And the last piece are scenery items. These are actually more like decorations. And down here at the bottom, I have sizes. So I have small, medium, and large. I'm seeing all three of those right now. And I'm still only seeing Paradise Island, Adventure, and Generic. Let's turn Generic off. And now I'm seeing just Paradise Island decorations. And there's all kinds of fun things I can do here. Giant insects, giant bugs, hula dancers, Komodo dragon. Let's grab a Komodo dragon. You'll see he's sort of small or medium, and I can change which direction he's facing. Put him right there. And a lot of times these will actually move. It's a fun decoration. Let's grab one of these tiki masks. Put that right there. Let's try something big. So I'll take off the medium, take off the small. Now I'm just seeing large things, like this fountain, which maybe I'll put right there. Fits nicely. Let's add, I know the prehistoric has some very large things, like large boulders, dinosaurs, big insects. Very fun. So also, don't forget to add decorations in your park that make sense for whatever theme you're trying to work on. So while the recording was paused, I began to add some extra things to make the park a little bit more interesting. I added this thrill ride here, and then I went and added the circus. The circus is classified as a gentle ride. You have things that aren't really rides, things like mini golf, a dolphin show, Ferris wheel, that kind of thing. And I went to turn my circus on, and I see that the green light, I can't choose it. I can't turn it on. And when you look at the script, it says there's no entrance or exit. The circus is one of those rides that doesn't automatically give you the entrance and the exit, so I have to figure out how to do that. If I click on the circus, I have this big wheel of various options. And the one that I will use most often is this one that looks like a little fire hat. And one of the options here is make an entrance, and the one next to it is make an exit. So let's make an entrance, and then it automatically does an exit. Of course, I'm going to create a queue path. And an exit path. And now I should be able to turn the circus on, and I can. As your park begins to grow, some things might start to break down, and things might start to go wrong. And I'm looking here and I'm seeing, yeah, that's trash or worse. So things are not going well right now because there's no one here working. I need to have some more staff to do things like pick up garbage or fix rides that are broken down. And the way I do that is pretty simple. This clipboard icon is where most of my management things happen. And the third one down is for staff. Now, I have plenty of kinds of staff that I can hire here, like janitors, mechanics, security, entertainers, and animal keepers. Right now, I could really use some janitors. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click, and then you see I've actually got him by these little pinchers, and I can drop him wherever I want him. And when I do that, he'll immediately start cleaning up the park and getting rid of this mess. It's a good idea to have several janitors. Mechanics are always important, and they go right where they're supposed to go without being told. Security couldn't hurt. People will feel safer if they're security personnel. And entertainers are those guys in big suits who go around and make kids happy. So I'm just clicking and dropping into the park, and they will wander around and do their thing on their own. But don't forget, because once rides start breaking down, people will start to get very unhappy very quickly. Or if trash begins to build up, same thing. At this point, my park has most of the things that a good park should have, but there's a few things that are definitely missing. And those things are like shops and facilities. So right now, there is nowhere for anyone to eat, get a drink, buy some souvenirs, or go to the bathroom. So let's go ahead and add a few of those things. I'm going to click on food. And this works just like before with the various themes. So if I have a prehistoric dinosaur themed area of my park, I can make sure that the food I'm finding is adequately themed, like Dino Burger. So let's put a Dino Burger here in the park. Now, this is really important because I'm pressing the Z key and you'll see that Dino Burger needs to be facing a certain way. I couldn't actually even see that right away because it was facing this way. So make sure that it's facing the right way. Place it down. And one thing that people always forget to do is that the shops and the food places have to be turned on just like the rides do. Right now it's closed. So I need to turn it on, and now people can walk up and have a burger as they already are. Okay, same thing with drink places. It works the exact same way. Souvenir shops, right now people can buy dino masks. So I'll place it and I won't forget to turn it on. And drink places. There actually are no dinosaur-themed drink places, so I'm going to turn on generic. I have drinks, coffee, hot cocoa. Let's put a lemonade stand in here somewhere. Turn it on. And, of course, very importantly, I need to have facilities. Things like ATM machines, first aid stations, information, toilets. These are really important, especially the bathrooms. People will get very upset if there are no bathrooms. So, let's place some toilets here. I'm going to put it in the middle here. I'm going to turn it on. And I'm going to make my path so that people can come from any direction from around it. So now I have bathrooms, people might want an ATM, etc. But a good park would have a few of these scattered around in each area. So each area of your park should have bathrooms on an information kiosk, places to eat. You might have a central food court at some place that had several different kinds of food. But keep that in mind that a good park definitely has those elements. While it's been paused, I actually created my own new park. I want to take a minute to stop and explain what I'm doing and how it relates to your actual assignment. So, starting from scratch, I made sure I had a very nice opening area of the park where you walk in. I put some apple trees and some flowers, some lamp posts. And when you get to here, you have sort of a big hub area, the giant fountain. Once again, I have some trees, I have some flowers, and it looks very nice. And then when you come over here, you see that I have a very specific theme going on. And that theme is the Wild West. So every attraction, every ride, every stall, every restaurant, every decoration, every plant is Wild West themed. And if you think about it, that's how most theme parks are. A lot of you have been to Six Flags or Busch Gardens or Kings Dominion, and every area has a certain theme to go along with it. So that's what you're going to do. You're going to create areas of a park that have a theme. Now what I suggest is you have this sort of giant hub area in the middle, and then coming off of that you have different areas. I've already started to create what I'm going to call my sort of food court over here. So I'm going to put a bunch of food restaurants, ice cream, that kind of thing over here. I have a Wild West theme, and I'm going to keep going. But I want to take a minute to show you that, to get that in your head. I've done a lot of cool things. I created a little walkway here into the middle of this roller coaster so people can sit. I put lamps in there. Almost every spot in this area has a decoration or a plant or a robot or something to make it interesting. I haven't left any area sort of blank. I've also created over here what's called a ride event. This is a very cool piece of scenery that is triggered by a ride, and if you watch this you'll see what I'm talking about. Let me get a good view for you. As the roller coaster hits a certain point right there, the ride event begins to animate itself. This oil platform is beginning to go, and then right as the coaster whips around, it acts like it's exploding. That's called a ride event. It's very fun, and it works with roller coasters. So to make that work, you go into scenery, and you have, there you are, ride events, and you see there's plenty of them. All you do is you plop them down next to your roller coaster. Then, once they're already placed, you can click on them, and you have this right here. You click on that, and you pick a certain area of the roller coaster that will trigger the ride event. Now, I picked something way over here, because when it starts, it just spews oil. But by the time that the coaster actually hits this area, the explosion goes off. Let's get a better view of that. So, right now it's being triggered. The oil's launching. But then, as it comes over here, right as they're close to it, the explosion goes off. So I planned that on purpose. That's called a ride event. So I'm going to go ahead and end this part of the video. Before I do, I want to make sure that I show you how to save your game. That's right here in Options. I'm going to go to Save Game. I already have mine saved, so if I wanted to resave it, I would click on that and press the Save button. If I haven't, I would give this a new name and press the Save button. But either way, make sure you're saving your park constantly in case something happens. Here we are back in the park, and I've decided that I want to have a water park as one of my sections. I think some of you might want to do the same. So I'm going to spend a few minutes talking about how to create water rides and pools. So if I come into the rides section, I have a whole section right here for swimming pools. It brings up this menu right here. To make a swimming pool is fairly simple. I just click and drag where I want the swimming pool to be. I can add sections like that. I can also create little pieces they're calling tiles, which are sort of areas in the pool where the pool isn't actually water. So let me actually make the pool a little bit bigger. Let's even go bigger. Why not? People love the pool. Okay. So I could put a whole area around the pool if I wanted to. That was just tile. And the cool thing about that is that when I put down the tiles, I have these things up here called extras. And they're things like lifeguard stations, special lamps, jacuzzi, because everyone likes that. Oh, those are lights, actually. Lights for the pool. Jacuzzi's right here. Diving board. Deck chairs. Okay, now what every pool does have to have in order to work is an entrance, and the entrances for the pools are called changing stations. So changing rooms, there are 4. They have themes like jungle. You stick them on the side of the pool, and I would have 1 or 2 of them. And here's the tricky part. Don't forget, the changing room has to be turned on like a ride, or else they will not go into the pool at all. So I'm going to click on this one. X that out. Turn this to on. Now, as my friends begin to come over here, they will definitely go in the pool because they are. It's a very popular part of your park. Those are the basics of how to make a pool. I'm going to come back and show you how to make some water rides. So my pool's already very popular. People are coming in, they're swimming, they're using the diving board, jacuzzi, they're having a great time. Let's do a water ride, and these are some of the trickiest parts of the game, so follow along closely. I have clicked on rides and I've chosen the water rides. And just like a roller coaster, they come preset with designs, which I'm really strongly encouraging that you use. Otherwise, making them from scratch can be very difficult. Let's do this this bowl, because I know that this is one of my favorite ones in any water park. So I'm going to click the little folder, and there are several options here. Let's choose this one. Okay, and you set it down just like a roller coaster, but I'm going to pay special attention to where it starts and where it ends. So I can see at the top here, let me place it down. Let me see. So up here, right here, that's where it starts. I'm going to have to create a path for it to get there. And it actually ends in the middle of the bowl. So underneath there, I need to have a pool. They have to fall into a pool, or this will definitely not work. So let me go ahead and create those things. I'm going to create a swimming pool underneath. Okay, that'll work. The swimming pool has to be functional, so like any other swimming pool, it has to have a changing room to get in. We'll put that there. We'll turn it on and make sure there's a path that you can get to it with. Okay, so the pool is operational. Now what I need is I need to get somehow up to the starting point. And there's a few ways to do this, but there are a few ways that are easier than others. So I'm going to show you the easiest way to do that. I'm going to go back into the pool menu. I'm going to grab the tile button. And let me see, make sure I can line this up right. It takes a little bit of practice. I'm going to then click on, the pools have their own very own path area. These are all for paths that you would have inside your pool area. But the easiest thing to do is use these spiral stairs right here. So I'm going to place these spiral stairs here, but I'm going to hold down the Shift key. Actually, I didn't do that quite right. Let me erase that. I'm going to hold down the Shift key, click and drag the mouse, and you see I can change the height of these spiral stairs. I'm going to line that up as best I can. You see, actually, I've gone too high, and I'm a little far the way that I wanted to be. So let me try one more time. So I'm going to raise that up to about there. Then I'm going to need to make a straight path. I'm going to unclick the spiral stair, and I'm going to create a normal path from there. I think it must be a little bit high. And this is the tricky part I was talking about. So let me try this one more time. Let me make my spiral staircase over here maybe. And I will try to get this to line up properly. There it is. So I got the spiral staircase to go up, then I created a straight path that connected with the start. Now I can actually turn on, hopefully, the ride here. Yes, I can. So now it's operational. So I'm going to go ahead and speed up time and see if I can get some people to come in here. So definitely going in the pool. No one sort of figured out that there's a ride attached yet. There we have our first customer. So he's going to go. There he goes. And you can watch him go all the way around. And he fell in the middle of the pool. So that is in a nutshell how to create a water slide. They are the hardest part for sure. So it's all about getting the paths set up using the spiral staircase to make that work. So if you want to use water rides, keep that in mind. They are not simple by any means. There is one more feature that I want to show you, and that is how to use animals in your park. This is very popular with most of my students, but a lot of them have a hard time getting in it first, and there's several steps that have to go into it in order for it to work properly. So I clicked on the ride button, and the bottom two icons deal with animals. Before I even go into the enclosure, which was normally my first step, I'm going to click on the animal tab itself. And these are all the different kind of animals that we can have in our park. The very important part is underneath each animal it tells you what kind of an enclosure they need. We see chain fence, wooden fences. For a few of them, we'll even have an electric fence for some of the more dangerous kinds of animals. This is very important. If you put the animal in the wrong kind of enclosure, the animal will get taken away from you. So if we want to say have giraffes, let's have a giraffe enclosure. We're going to need a chain fence. So I'm going to go to the enclosure button. I'm going to make a chain fence. And I'm going to make this much bigger than you probably think I need to, but trust me on this. The animals need a lot of space. And inside each enclosure, we have to have what's called an animal house. This is absolutely essential. You will not be able to keep the animals unless you have this. And each kind of animal, carnivores, herbivores, monkeys, have their own kind of house. This one actually I can see giraffes have their own special kind of house, and they're very large, which is one of the reasons why I made the enclosure so big. This is where they will get fed and trained and cared for by the animal keepers. The animal keepers were the one part of staff that I didn't hire originally. I had janitors and custodians and security and mechanics, but I didn't hire any animal trainers because I didn't have any animals yet, but now I do. I might go back later and hire more animal trainers. You see each animal house comes with one already, and he's walking around now. Now I can go ahead and get some animals. So let me click on giraffe. I can get male, female, and baby. So let's get a male. They come in boxes. Female. Let's get a couple of small ones. You do not want to overcrowd. If you overcrowd, they will end up getting taken away. So let's just start with 4 giraffes, 2 adults and 2 babies. I'm going to click back on the enclosure button, and I also have a viewing gallery. This is really cool. So a viewing gallery is where the people can actually come and see your animals. And you have small, medium, and large. I'm going to click a large. I'm going to put it here on the side of the enclosure, and like always, you have to turn the viewing gallery on. It's green. Now I'm going to make sure that my paths connect to it. And now the visitors can get right up close to see the giraffes in action. Another thing inside the animal menu are enrichment items. These are toys. So if I put balls and things in the enclosure, the animals will actually play with them. It enriches their lives. It makes them happier. So I'll put a few things in here for them to play with. And that's basically it. It's really important that you have enough space in the enclosure. You don't have too many animals. You shouldn't mix and match animals in different enclosures, even if they would get along. Just have a different enclosure for it. So the giraffe just kicked the ball. He's having a good time. The viewing gallery needs to be turned on. And actually, last step is, like I said, I'll go to my management tab, go to my staff tab, and I'm going to drop a couple extra animal keepers in here by clicking and dropping, so that we have plenty of people to take care of our new friends. So you can do that for, several times, and you can have all kinds of different animals in your park. So your assignment is to create a park that has at least 3 separate areas. Each area should have a strong theme in it. So that theme might be something like the Wild West, or it might be a ghost theme, an adventure theme. Remember, the decorations can make this really easy, because as you click on the decorations, they have these pre-made areas for you, like spooky, or space, or adventure, or prehistoric. So 3 areas that have a solid theme. They can include a water park, could be one of your areas, and an area with animals could be another one, but they don't have to be. Each area should have several rides. The rides shouldn't just be large roller coasters. There should be rides for kids. There should be gentle rides for the family. There can be these smaller thrill rides. You could have more than one of each, but make sure that each area has something for everybody. There should also be lots of decorations, including lights, benches, trash cans. There should be themed areas with the plants and the foliage. Little things like I have these teepees here. The robot cowboys that I have right here. It all fits together. It all makes sense. You should have all of that. There shouldn't be empty areas where nothing is filled in. Don't forget things like bathrooms and ATM machines, information kiosks. This should be a very, very detailed park. Try and think outside the box. Have a little area like this where people can come and sit and watch the roller coaster go by. Be creative. And then once you've created your park, you're going to make a PowerPoint about it, and I'll address that in the next video. Here's the PowerPoint that I've created. I did it a couple of years ago, but it works just the same. So I have a title slide with my name. I have a slide that shows off the entrance of my park. So I've used the snipping tool to take that picture, of course, and I've described the entrance. Then I'm going to describe each of my 3 areas. Each area is going to have 4 slides. So it'll have sort of a welcome slide that shows the entire area and something fun up top. I've named this area the Wild West. I'm going to have a slide that details which rides I have, and I even took a picture from one of the roller coasters. I'll address how to do that in the very last video next. And I describe all the rides I have here, including the name. If you click on them, you'll see their name. So I have 1 roller coaster, 1 thrill ride, 1 children's ride, and 1 gentle ride. In some of your areas, I hope you'll have more than one of each of these categories. I describe the decorations, and once again I've taken a screenshot that shows off some of the best decorations. I detail the shops and facilities with a screenshot. Oops, I made a spelling mistake there, so I'll right click and fix that. Oops, same with souvenirs. Perfect. And then I'll move on to my second area. I haven't bothered to fill out the slides for every single one of my areas because I haven't actually created all the areas yet. But you'll have the same slides for area number 2 and area number 3. So you'll have the basic picture, the rides in area 2, the decorations, and the shops, and then you'll do it one more time for area 3 with rides, decorations, and shops. So you'll have 14 slides total, and I can't wait to see what you come up with. So let's take a screenshot from the view of one of our rides. It's a really cool way to see the park. So I've clicked on this ride right here called the Mine Drop, and then I clicked on the little fire helmet looking icon that brings up most of my options, and one of them right here is what's called the coaster cam. You see I got really good timing here, and I can use my mouse to look around. I can see who's next to me. It's a great way to see the park. But right when it started to drop, what I did is I pressed the Windows button. The Windows button is down by the space bar between the Control key and the Alt key. And that will automatically bring up my Windows menu. And as it did, it paused the game, which was perfect. So what I can do now is, in the search tool, which you can't really see right now, I'm going to search for the snipping tool like I always do. And when the snipping tool opens, you'll see it goes gray like it normally does. And now I can grab the screen area I want and let go. Beautiful. So this is the picture we took. I'm going to press the copy button. And then I can shoot it right over to my PowerPoint and paste that picture onto the slide. For each of these slides that has the ride information, have at least one picture with this coaster cam view.